because he's infirmed and he's mentally incapacitated. That's the whole point here. But the letter is written in a way to kind of sidestep that a little bit and to try to get away from the fact that there is a urgent need, or at least there would be if this wasn't a presidency by committee from the beginning. There's an urgent need to get this man out. Get him out. But he hasn't been a consequential figure in American history, especially this little chapter of American history from the beginning, as we all know. And, you know, it's, again, you're wrestling with greased eels. There's never going to be a moment where anybody says, oh, man, it's just, oh, okay, well, no, this is a great thing. You know, he served with distinction, and now we're going to get behind our vice president. And listen, earlier on today, we were taking a look at what was going on there and seeing, okay, so when we spoke last, I was working under the assumption that there would be a factional divide in this one too. You know, Clinton camp versus Obama camp. Kamala, are they going to try to force somebody in on a ticket with Kamala so they don't lose all that PAC money? You know, one way or another, it's going to the convention. And then all of a sudden we see the Clinton endorsement and Alex Soros endorsement, which is, you know, there's something there. Joe endorses Kamala Harris. I don't know, man. So they're trying to at least be they know that chaos at this juncture is not a good thing. So they're trying to be unified, at least right here. I want to know what the hell you've been seeing. And while you start calling in, I saw a couple of calls flutter in and out. I'll just read this. Here's the first one up. This is from our buddy Jeremy Ryan Slate. He said the following. He said, Joe or Jill wanted to run. The Democrat Party did not want him to and engaged in a PR campaign to force him out. So much of your reality is actually constructed for you, not just happenstance. This looks like a PR campaign, and here's why. The campaign was seeded early, and this was in December of last year. Biden not sure he'd be running if Trump was not in the 2024 race. That's Reuters, Thomson Reuters from last December. Ohio forgot to put Biden on the ballot. This is from May of this year. Ohio passes bill to ensure Biden appears on the November ballot, but DNC still plans to hold a virtual roll call. Jeremy continues. The presidential ballot was early, or the debate, I should say. The debate was early, which this is one of those things where everybody said, why so insanely early? And then another one so insanely late. Is because you're trying to market test or create some sort of a need to make a move. I don't get why the public humiliation needed to be. Perhaps it wasn't public humiliation just planned to be sadistic. Perhaps it really just was as simple as Occam's razor would be, at least for me, that the MO for years now, at least since 2020, is to completely hide the fact that the guy is infirmed. He's done. He's cooked. And that 2020, under the shadow of the lockdowns and the virus that was running amok, it was forgivable to not be out campaigning, to not be out in public, to do some call-in shows on television, to call into a radio show here and there, Zoom here and there, even though he was screwing those up too, reading all the liner notes on the side of the transcripts and whatever. This has been a television-produced presidency. Okay? It has been on the editing room floor, this entire charade. And perhaps that early thing was just like, okay, well, we're putting him up there early. It'll be past his bedtime. Maybe they give him a low dose of something so he wasn't as, amped up on one thing or another. And it was just, it was time to show the world so that they can make another move. And we've gone into the theories as to why Joe Biden from the beginning. That all goes back to Ukraine and before that. But anyway, the presidential debate was early. The media joined in all at once. 72% of voters say Biden not mentally fit to serve as president. I know. That's crazy. But the fact is he's still there for another 6 months. Then the funding started to dry up. Donors stress over path forward after Biden's debate performance. Jeremy continues, people that are running don't need to reassure you that they're running. Here's another headline. Biden gets support from key lawmakers as he tells Democrats he won't step aside after debate. CIA's favorite actor, George Clooney, jumped in. George Clooney, I love Joe Biden, but we need a new nominee. Obama tells allies Biden's path to winning re-election is greatly diminished. That's from Washington Post. The one before that was New York Times. Media dropped story that Biden would consider not running if he had a medical condition. Well, I'd have to imagine having your brain leave you. They sucked his brains out. How risky is COVID for an 81-year-old? That was from The Atlantic, probably like last week. Biden reassures he's running. Someone that is running doesn't have to do that. Media seeds that Biden is looking to bow out. And of course, we got this over the last couple of days that by Sunday, they actually gave us today, he'd be gone, and he was. But all along the way, there was denials. And we'll read this again tomorrow. We'll read this again tomorrow on the Monday night show. Here it is, and then we'll go to your calls. My fellow Americans, over the past 3.5 years, we have made great progress. Today, America has the strongest economy. Oh, whatever. We provided critical things. Never mind. I know none of this could have been done without you, the American people. Together, we overcame it. Blah, blah, blah. It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president. And while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude for all those who have worked so hard to see me re-elected. I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all of this. And let me express my heartfelt appreciation to the American people for the faith you have placed in me. I believe today what I have always have, that there is nothing America can't do. Blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, there is Jill Biden signing for Joe. And very carefully written. Because it's just, listen, I want to just concentrate on what's going on here. I'm sure he'll give us a little bit more bullshit later on in the week as they get the verbiage together. But this is, they're trying to avoid, at least right now, addressing the dementia head on. They're trying to avoid that because there's still 6 months. So, what the hell do you think? 914-200-0269. We're going to be on for no more than an hour. No more than an hour. So I want to take on some calls and see what the hell's going on with you and what you feel about all of this. Tomorrow in the first half of the show, we're going to have Zach Voorhees call in about the CrowdStrike thing that was going on the last couple of days. So that was already on the table, but now we have this, and I'm sure that will just add to the fun. All right. This is from Prison Mitch on Twitter. He came across an exclusive from the president. Actually, this is pretty incredible because Biden said he was going to address the nation later on this week, but then this was released just a little while ago.
My fellow Americans, I want to take a moment to address some of the hateful shit you've been talking about me. Many of you have said I am suffering from brain worms or that I have applesauce for brains. Well, I won't mince words, so here it is. Fuck you. You're all a bunch of faggots. End of quote. Repeat the line. So enjoy President Cackles or President Booty Juice. I really don't give two fucks anymore. Biden out.
If that was actually him, like if that was his public persona, I actually might be a fan of his. If that was... If he was that reckless, and I know he's not that far off, I might actually be a fan of his. At least low key. I'd be like, yeah, go get him. 914-200-0269. Let's take a call. Okay. 615. What's going on, Johnny? Hello.
How you doing? Hey, can you hear me?
I can. Give us a quick one, Johnny. We're doing rapid fire tonight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So check it out. So I looked at the high school photo of the shooter, the alleged assassin at the Trump thing, and he looks like a malnourished version of the InfoWars reporter Chase Geisner. I would love to see a comparison photo of that guy's high school senior photo against the guy that was at the Trump thing. Thanks, dude.
What's his name again?
Chase Geisner. I think Geisner is his last name.
Chase
is his first name for sure. But man, if you take that guy, drop him 20 years back in time, and malnourish that Joker, man, I'm telling you, it's the same genetics. It's like the same person. I called up there to InfoWars earlier. I know it's rapid fire. I called up there to InfoWars earlier, and they laughed at me when I said that, and they called the shooter a retard based upon a condition, a physical condition. And I'm going MK Ultra, MK Ultra, MK Ultra, and I'm looking at Chase Geisner. I'm like, man, you're like a fattened up version of that dude.
Okay, well, sounds like you got to the bottom of that, or you could be. I just put his face on screen, and I guess, I don't know. I haven't looked at the other guy in a all day, actually. Thank God. Because man, oh man, like I said, you might as well just call him Stephen Paddock Jr. I have gotten into. I have a lot of things set aside for tomorrow night, especially anything that has been done to really get to the meat and potatoes of how many shooters. That's what phase we're in right now. There's a lot of incredible things going on, and the fact that you need so much willpower to ignore everything that is actually right there, and you can what the shit that people are ignoring. Just to be able to deny Trump some sort of a public relations win, and of course that's exactly what surviving an assassination attempt like this is all about. You're going to have wind under your wings. It's just going to happen, and people are that is so hurtful to people. Like I said, what timeline are we in when that can happen to somebody where they can avoid death? And most people will roll their eyes and go, oh, God, great. Now he's a martyr. That's where we're at. Incredible. Let's take a call from Switzerland. Could this be our friend Noor?
Hello?
Who's this?
Oh, this is Stefan from Switzerland.
Oh, wow. We have two friends from Switzerland. We usually, whenever I see a Switzerland number call in, it's usually Noor bin Laden. It's great to talk to you.
Oh, hello. Hi, Frank. Long-time listener, great fan. I have a quick theory.
Okay.
What do you think about the idea that the shooter on the roof, what if they told him and actually convinced him that maybe he should be the sniper for the day because the other people didn't come? So that he should just jump in and then work for the security service, whatever it's called, and then after be the GOAT. Or whatever you call it, the
patsy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, he got shots off, so it wasn't even just like, hey, stand here, look pretty while somebody else shoots somewhere else, and then you're the one that's going to get it in the face. He got some shots off.
But if they convinced him that he should maybe just stand in today because they needed someone from the area and he wanted to shoot, he's a shooter or whatever, and they convinced him to just jump in and then use him as a patsy.
You know what? I think that is going to be that right there. What you're talking about right there takes place inside of a span of time that I really, really hope we get some kind of insight on it, because that may be, if there's anything that we never get anything on, it is what happened from the time that he arrived and he's just kind of like milling around and using the rangefinder and all that stuff to like weeks prior, because they found that he was, there's really no imprint. He has no real social media footprint or anything like that, but he was using encrypted communication devices. Who was he communicating with? How long was this going on for? So hey, exactly. That would be a great answer.
You have one theory that says that he's absolutely a social person. The other theory that says that he's actually quite politically engaged, whatever. You have so many different theories, and maybe they just convinced him to just, jump in. We need someone today. We need someone to, someone fell out and we need to protect Trump, or we need to whatever. And that would also give a big possibility why they left him so much range, so much place, so much time to do everything. That would also explain the credit cards and all that stuff. Not the credit cards, the 3 bank accounts that apparently he had, and getting all the time that they left him, just left him be, left him to do what he ever wanted. And if they basically told him, just jump in, help us, we need someone because we have 2 little people, why not?
Well,
good theory.
Well, it is a decent theory, because something's better than nothing, first of all, and there's got to be some kind of motivation there, whether it was coercion, mental illness, any kind of Manchurian candidacy, whatever the hell it is. That is a very interesting role that he ended up playing in all this, because definitely he's not the he's definitely not the big story, but he's definitely the face of the story right now. And
yeah. And there's also so many theories, from the room next door or the house next door where the window was open and whatever. So many theories, whatever happened, but you always need a patsy when you do something. And MK Ultra, whatever you want to call it, maybe it's as simple as just, convincing someone, hey, we need your help. Come and help. You've been in the shooting club. We need someone on that roof. Come and, we'll.
Yes, but
we need someone now.
When you say that we need someone on that roof, it's not, it's one thing to say, hey, can you come by and help us work security someplace? It's another thing to say, hey, listen, you've been really great in the shooting club lately. Will you help us kill a president?
Exactly. Maybe help us shoot the president, or even just, you've been very good at the club. We need someone now, and you've showed us that you're trustworthy. So why don't you help the police or help the Secret Service or whatever? We need someone now. I know in the acting business, you need extras very quickly. Or you need people very quickly.
Then what I would say is, and thank you for the call, because we don't get a lot of European calls unless I go live early in the night or
I know,
early
I'm
in the day.
very nervous talking now. So
no, it's great. I wish we had more. I wish we had more people calling in, because we don't get the European dig on a lot of things lately. Thanks for the call there. What I would say is, you got to give him the mission. You got to say exactly what you want. If you tell somebody, hey, we need you to kill someone, who are they? And that is a very tall order. What conditions is the person operating on? What mental conditions are they operating under to be recruited for something like that? What promises are being made? We saw how these things are they're put together. Like we were talking about last week before we ended the week early on Thursday night, we were talking a little bit about the FBI putting together that Whitmer kidnapping. Soup to nuts. They put the whole damn thing together. So there's got to be, it's of course, all of those chats were not encrypted. They were taking place on Discords and Facebooks and all that other stuff. So whoever the hell was talking this guy up under whatever kind of conditions, we'll never see those transcripts. I bet you we don't. There's gonna be a lot of, for as much as we know, and whatever we know right now is really enough to know what the hell's going on, to get a really good understanding. There's gonna be a lot we don't know over time. 614 or 814. Go ahead.
Oh, geez.
Hey,
Frank.
Hey.
Hi, Frank. Hey, I got in. I'm so glad. Thanks for taking my call.
You got it. Go ahead.
So I just wanted to bring up the fact that, so this kid was like in some BlackRock commercial, right?
Can I ask you, do you have anything to say about, I'm going live right now to take calls, especially because the inevitable happened with Joe Biden. I mean, we can talk about this, about the assassination attempt, which obviously is in one way, shape, or form connected to the whole thing. But do you have anything that you wanted to say about that in particular, the Biden thing, or any of the chess pieces being moved around today in real time?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy that Biden is dropping from the race, but I just have this feeling like this kid was groomed. If he was in that BlackRock commercial,
yes, we did.
They could have groomed him to. Sorry,
no, yeah.
I'm getting off topic.
No, well, we did the BlackRock thing, and I definitely saw the commercial. We were talking about that.
I must have missed it. I'm sorry.
Well, no, it's all right. It's all right. I just didn't. I wanted to be able to keep on the straight and narrow here tonight.
Sure.
Was there something in particular that you took from all that? Because the BlackRock, the secrecy, the grooming kind of idea, the theories that we had there, they all went in one kind of a, almost like an MK Ultra kind of a
Right.
direction. So, is there anything new that you have gleaned from that?
I mean, just with Biden and him dropping from the race, it's you kind of feel sorry for him. I guess it's kind of good news, but they got a lot to get together in 2 short months, and God forbid they try to put in Hillary,
or
Obama. And my mother, my straight and narrow on the believe everything the news says today says, Wendy, I hope they put in Oprah. I said, Jesus Christ, please no.
Oh no! Oh no! I would.
She's one of those that would watch The View and all of that. I'm like, oh my God, are you out your ever loving mind?
I know. Listen, I still don't know where it's all, where that all goes, but it doesn't seem like the Hillary thing is I don't know. Especially apparently what's being said right now, it doesn't seem like it's actually going to happen. And thank you for the call. I mean, I was talking to the Zells and everything else like that. What is it? Senator Manchin considers seeking Democrat nomination. Look at that. Look at that one. So in the Clinton machine, they endorsed Kamala, which I thought was not going to happen. I thought that was just going to be because what we said in the afternoon today. If they don't fill out that Biden Harris ticket in one way or another, they lose that money. And who's able to recoup that in just 2.5 months? Because once we get to late August, when that convention happens, then you got September, you got October, and then as soon as October ends, it's election day. It's like that next Tuesday, so it's crazy. It's just nutty. Obama endorses her, along with Alex Soros, and then Clinton too. So they want to at least present unification. We'll see what happens, man. It's just nuts. Crazy stuff. Let's just go for a little while longer. 507, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Frank. Quick shout out to my Twitch family. We're ride or die.
What's up?
Love you.
What's up, Twitch?
Love it. Quick theory that I heard today about the whole Joe Biden dropping out of the race thing.
Yeah.
Him dropping out of the race actually gives him, according to the recent Donald Trump, and this is what I have heard, is that him dropping out of the race and the whole Donald Trump ruling of political actions while you're in office gives Joe Biden free clearance to do whatever he wants to do. And he's going to be a lame duck who's going to pass a whole bunch of executive actions. What do you think?
Oh, that would be the easiest thing to see coming. Anything that can be signed and at least just thrown out there. I mean, that's just what his boss coined that term. I've got a pen and a phone. So they don't even care if they have Congress. They have executive action, which is all illegal. And at least in the time being, before somebody files a lawsuit somewhere and it gets all tied up in one circuit or another. It's just the way that they usually have it, because in the time that they what that is in regards to, I don't know. Is he going to try to cancel more student loan debt? What can he do to sweeten the deal for Kamala so that she could at least go and campaign on something that he's writing off and saying, hey, listen, it's going to be, I'm going to be a continuation of all the great things that are happening even right now as Joe Biden is, doing what. So we'd have to just see, because obviously it would not be an act of Congress. So, yeah, that's something that is just going to materialize before us over the next couple of months. Man, this is going to be long and fast at the same time.
It is, and that's the thing about it, is that I feel the same way. Is that the second shoe has dropped in this whole presidential debate or race, and I feel like it's actually going to be a long, hot summer.
Well, thank you, sir, and thank you to everybody over there on the Twitch for watching. That's a good one. What do you guys think? And the crowd strike thing is going to come into play big time tomorrow. That's going to come into play big time, because I really don't know how this can continue. I don't know how it's going to continue. What they did today does not make the thing any better for them. Doesn't. I had a friend write to me. He says once they refused to give him the proper amount of amphetamines for the debate, coupled with the media acknowledgement of his retardation, it was obvious that they were pulling the plug on him. It seems their plan was to have two candidates. It's only going to get crazier. Kamala, the border czar, versus Trump in the debate. I'm not sure that they'll even go through with an election. I've gotten that from a lot of people. And the big question is, what is it? Tomorrow, I'd like to talk about that with Zach Voorhees a little bit, because depending on what the crowd strike thing looks to be, it could just be a big mistake. I have a lot of material on that. We'll just let them go. But the fact that this came up and it was so debilitating in the cyber world, that is just that's just one of those things that makes you think back to what we've been promised too. There's always that disease X thing, and the big one is coming, and all of that. But always remember what they tell you with the cyber pandemic stuff in the middle of 2020, the Polygon and the NATO summit. They made sure that everybody knew at that last the couple of NATO summits ago in like 20 or 21. They let everybody know that a cyber attack was eligible to trigger Article 5. And, they've been, I don't know, trying to find a way to make all this work. And they can place digital fingerprints on anybody. Remember Vault 7? We were just reviewing that a little while ago when Julian Assange was released. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. How the hell do they avoid this at all costs? Oh, my God. Just nutty. All right, 575, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Franklin?
Yes?
Does it sound like shit?
What's that?
Does my phone sound like shit?
Yeah, kind of.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. It's okay, but, I can understand what you're saying. We can get through it.
Alrighty. Well, I was just going to say, you remember back in before Trump got elected in 2016 or 17 or whatever, you remember, well, I don't know if you were into that. I didn't follow you back then. I just found you since 2020. But everyone was like, martial law, Jade Helm, Obama's not going to let the election happen. Kind of think that's the same thing going on here. I think, which, I mean, at the same time, that was the world was still kind of sane back then. But
that's the only thing that I account for, man. It is just when I said that eventually, and I think this was in 2020 or 2022. I said eventually they're going to have to just find a way to say no more or not right now with an election. Eventually, they're going to have to. I mean, and I understand that there's always been a lot of huffing and puffing, and a lot of people who get paranoid and overreact and think, hey, This is it. It's over. But in with hindsight being 2020, man, things were things were a lot easier back in 2012, and things were a lot saner. Although we were on the path to crazy. Right now, I mean, I think about it all the time. It's just like we can see what is going on all over the world. The measures that are taken to make sure that the will of any kind of electorate does not interfere with the plans of the people who are inhabiting the bureaucracies and are trying to do something here that they think is for the betterment of everybody, but it's not. It's for the betterment of themselves, and they're psychopaths and they're ideologically insane. Eventually, when they can't influence people, they can't persuade them with media tricks anymore, that everybody's quality of life is getting, a little bit more worse off, that, usually loyal voters are going to start jumping over to the other side. There's just no way to ensure that the party, that the company continues to operate the way that they had designed it to be that way for probably over 100 years now, as we try to, consolidate the whole world. So, I mean, eventually there's going to be a point where you can't leave it up to people's consent because it's getting harder and harder for them to control the consent.
Yeah, that's kind of what's happening right now. You see all these people jumping over to the side of sanity, which I'm not a Republican, but
I get
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, no, I get you. It's just,
but yeah, who knows? Who knows what the hell will happen? But I'm just gonna, I don't know. I just want to throw that out there.
Well, I'm glad you did, because it is good to remember that there was a time not too long ago. Thank you, Cody. There was a time not too long ago where people said, I think they're going to cancel the election. And you could have laughed at them for being paranoid. If that was in 2012, Obama will never allow this. It's going to be Jade Helm. It's going to be martial law. It's all this stuff. And, it was spooky reading on the rumor mill. It was spooky reading on one message board or another, from our bedrooms at 1:30 in the morning, on our phones or on our computer, getting lost in some conspiracy rabbit hole. It feels cool, man. It really does. But you can get lost there. And then all of a sudden 12 years goes by. It's 2024 now, and the election still hasn't been canceled. But has it been? I mean, do you consider 2020 an election? Seriously. Now, people weren't told to stay, but they were told to stay home. I mean, you want to talk technically here? It's nutty. 979, go ahead.
Yeah. Is this Frank?
Yes, it is. Is this Richard?
Yes, it is.
What's going on, man?
My wife is like your biggest fan. And
hello.
I know that you've already covered this, but I really think that if Joe could have beat Trump, that they would still have him in there. But the reason they took him out because he can't beat him.
Here's what I don't get. Well, maybe it really just comes down to what is. And if you could just turn the stream down just for a second while you're on.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
I think what it must just come down to health and the inability to trust that he'll be able to go out there and execute even basic scripts with any level of believability. Because I got to talk to Rich Barris again. I got to schedule him for his end of the month show. Maybe he'll come on this Tuesday. I don't have a guest right now on Tuesday, but what he was saying the other night that he was on, when we were, kind of cutting away to that last night at the RNC, what he was saying is that despite all of this stuff, Joe Biden polls the highest. He still polls the highest out of everybody, and especially over Harris. Now, I don't know. Obviously, maybe just out of desperation, Kamala Harris is going to start looking a little bit more peachier for people who have just been trained to be so scared of the idea of Donald Trump rising to power again that they're just like, hey, listen, I'll take anybody. I'll take a bag of bones, whatever the hell you got from me, please. I'll learn. You just feed me anything, and I'll learn to love it. So she'll definitely get a bump. But the question is, who's she going to be paired with? Is it Pete Buttigieg? Is it the Shapiro guy from from Pennsylvania? Is it the governor from North Carolina, like Rich was saying? So that's the only thing that gets me is just that, he was still the highest polling person even now. I don't know. We gotta look at that.
Well, I agree with everything you said, and we really love you down here in Texas. We just went through the tornado and the hurricane, but we really love you, Frank. And my wife really loves you without that hat. She thinks you're gorgeous.
Oh. I'm gonna tell.
Sorry, man.
No. Hey, thank you so much, man. It's, you know what? Like I said in the stream today, I didn't have the hat on, and because I was just outside putting my new Roman chair together, and I was just getting some sun on the dome, man. And when I don't look like a cue ball, I let it fly a little bit more. But tell your wife I say hi, and you know what? You prepare some room down there for us, because if we got to get the hell out of here soon, I might just be showing up at Texas, because that is the one place I think, if I have to roll the dice, if there's any one place that will actually take a chance on secession and independence one day, it just might be Texas. So who knows?
Yeah, it's big down here, and we love your daughter too. It's really big down here. You would fit right in, man. You would fit right in.
Well, thank you. Well, I'll still have this big northeastern doofy accent, but hopefully you'll see. I'll fit right in politically. That'll be fine.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
All right, take care, man.
Okay, take care. Bye.
See you later. See, without the hat, gorgeous. Lauren's gonna be very happy to hear that. I told you, Frank. Cheers to Matt Roski. Every time I drink out of this copper cup, I think about Cultivate Elevate. All right, let's see. Let's take a call over here. 562, you're on the air. Who dis?
Hi, this is Rhonda Cook.
Who?
Rhonda Cook.
Wanda Cook?
Rhonda, R-H-O-N-D-A.
Oh, Rhonda. Okay, do you have me on speakerphone?
No. Oh. I have you on a headphone.
Oh, that's
my God, I'm on with Frank right now.
Yeah, you are. That's why I thought it was speakerphone. Something sounds a little boomy.
No, I've got my earbuds in. Let me take my earbud out.
I know you sound fine right there. Whatever you did, don't move, and just go ahead with your point. It's great to get a call from you, Rhonda.
Well, I've been trying to get through for a while. The other night I tried to get through, so I just saw you live, and I just wanted to call in.
Well, I'm glad you got through. How long have you been watching for?
Oh my gosh, I've been watching you for 5 or 6 years.
Wow, man. So before the real dark times, huh? When we were still we were still ripping and roaring, and we thought that
Actually, I was a sponsor for a little while, and I had talked to you on email. My husband was the one who got COVID really bad, and I had to black out. That's fake. Listen, people, life takes you places. I always say I'm never anything less than grateful for anybody who sponsors a show for any period of time. And if you ever have to put me down for a little while, and I'm always gonna be back where you left me. And I'm just happy you're still watching. That's all that matters. I watch every single night. I fall asleep every single night to your podcast. It's awesome. You have taught me so much history and bring so much to the plate. I can't stop watching. It's always amusing. Well, I'm glad you like that, because there's a lot of things that I go out and learn just so that I will be able to talk about it on the show. Things I always wanted to learn, and the audience members like you really keep a fire lit under my ass. I mean, and that's why I also love things like the book club, because that lit a fire under my ass to go out there and read 5 or 6 books at minimum a year. And now in between, that is on my next list, to do the book club, because I've caught a few episodes of it, and I think it's awesome. It really is easy, and I think it's going to be awesome. I'm totally into doing that. Cool, because there's something else, and there's something else that we're going to do. And thanks for the call, Rhonda. And so I'll send my best to your husband too. Oh, thank you. He's sitting right here with me. I actually just showed him his picture. I wanted to say, oh my gosh, this is quite frankly the one I'm always talking to you about. What's going on, hubby? What you doing, hubby? He's totally live on the air right now. Yeah.
That's it. Well, it's a man of little words, but I hope you guys have a great night.
Yes, he is.
Okay. Well, have a good one, Rhonda. Take care.
You too. Thanks for letting me through.
No, you got it. Be well. Sweet dreams. Yeah. I just like going live taking calls. So you want to call about Joe Biden? Go ahead. Do it. I got this one. Listen to this. Democrats describing Joe Biden. This is from the guy named John Ziegler. Democrats describing Joe Biden this morning. Selfish, delusional, stubborn, sure loser, too old and weak to run, putting democracy in peril. Democrats describing Joe Biden this afternoon. Selfless, brave, hero, statesman, patriot, brilliant strategist, best president ever. And it's true. They're just really sick, really stomach churning to go and look at this. I put out a little bit of a voice note on Twitter. I didn't know you can do that, but I put out a minute-long voice note. And it was just a recap of what we had said, what was it, Thursday night, about how nobody hates their voters more than the Democrat Party does. I mean, there's a lot of disdain with the GOP, no doubt. They can't stand people, especially when they have free will. I think that's the thing that the GOP probably hates about their voters, because there's more tendency to actually rebel, whereas Democrats, they're just like, feed me anything and I will make this taste good. Just pathetic. It's really, really pathetic. And what I brought up again, and it'll probably come up tomorrow, since it'll be an official episode, is the big lie that 2020 was stolen, that 2020 was less than legitimate, let's say. The scoffing that goes, oh, I can't believe it. He believes in the big lie. He believes in the big lie. If you're a Democrat, you have not been allowed to choose your own candidate in 3 election cycles now. 3 presidential election cycles now. All right? You haven't even been allowed to choose your own candidate. What is so crazy about the big? What is so crazy about everything else being stolen? About operations being put in place for everything else? You can't even, that's one thing you can say about the GOP. Kicking and screaming. They hated, and they still hate, Donald Trump and his influence on the party. He's a progressive guy, but they had a business model that did not want they did not want disturbed at all. We got to talk about that, though. I have to talk about that. So, any of your friends scoff at the big lie? Man, but there's that. Let's take a call from Margie. Margie, what's going on after all these years? It seems like the third. It seems like the remaining third of Biden's brain is finally just like, I can't do it anymore.
I'm so sorry to call again, Frank, but I just couldn't resist.
Everybody, if you don't remember, Margie's the one that called in. She went to an event one day years ago and got to sit right down next to the surgeon that did all of Biden's brain aneurysm surgeries and removed his brain. And he told her directly, oh, yes, that man is missing a good portion of his brain.
I'm going to admit to you, Frank, why I get to meet all these people. I've never admitted it to you or your show before. I was in the Foreign Service, State Department Foreign Service. And everybody who knows me puts me in contact with everybody they know. So that's why I am forced to call today about that letter. That resignation letter is not on official White House stationery. He should have written that on the office of the president, the White House. This is not from him. This is not real. This is, I'm sorry to go conspiracy theory on people, but this is the DNC, the deep state, whatever you want to say, making him step down by putting it out and by doing this. I'm sorry, and everybody, and I can't understand why nobody who's currently in politics has not brought that up. You're not allowed to address the public and people officially on your own stationery. That paper he's on just says Joey Biden. It does not say Office of the White House. Everybody just look back on everything Trump put out. It will be the White House, Office of the President.
I was looking at the signature there too, and I it's just like I wouldn't be surprised if all this is just screen printed on there. And for you to call your attention,
setup.
Yeah.
Because let me put it this way: official stationery is not out where people can just pick up a sheet. You couldn't just walk into his office and pick up a piece of his stationery. You can't do it.
I wonder, Margie, what this makes me, what you're calling up about right now, what this makes me think is, what was Joe Biden doing? Who was he in a meeting with? What was he tied up doing while this was being released on his behalf? Because he was
probably in a coma out there at his beach house.
Well, you know
he
what?
He probably doesn't even know it's happened.
Whether he was in a coma today when it happened, all up to today, all the days leading up to today, somebody around him was denying every day that he was dropping out, that he was still putting out up until today. Somebody pulled the lever, and this thing went out, and somebody got to talk today and said, all right, enough is enough. This is the way it's going to be. I wish I knew. Hey, let me ask you something. Since I know a little bit more about you now, have you ever watched? I opened up with the theme song from House of Cards tonight. Have you ever watched House of Cards?
Like
It's
just like that.
I wanted to ask.
It is just like that. That is like that's just so real. It is so real.
I'm going to rewatch the first.
What it's like.
I'm going to rewatch the first 2 or 3 seasons again. The first 2 seasons are incredible. I have to watch them again. It's so crazy.
I started watching it again just recently because I'm going. I just have to watch it because it takes me back. And for that matter, so did Madam Secretary. Was just like State Department. Exactly.
I'm glad. Well, you know what? I'm glad you called in, and I'm glad you shared that little bit more about yourself, Margie, because with all of this going on over just in the last couple of days too, obviously the last week has been a whirlwind, but now that we're on to this part of the storyline of the official Biden exit that we thought was going to happen 2.5, 3 years ago, I'm saying to myself, my God, everything that we're being shown right now, I just wonder how close it is to House of Cards behind the scenes. I just kept thinking about that show over and over again.
It's just like that. And I'm going to tell you, Frank, I've given up on the U.S. I'm sorry to say I was a patriot all my life. And I have decided that I cannot see us having an election. I can't see Trump being allowed to live until then. But with everything that we're doing right now in Germany, in Romania, all over, we are setting up a false flag. We are going to attack somebody with the nuclear weapon. I don't know if you know this, but Hillary Clinton, the Clinton regime sold uranium to Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And they kept part of it with Russian signatures. So if we were to use a bomb with their uranium, it would come out that Russia did it.
Well, at this point, Margie, and listen, thank you for the call, and I hope that you call in during, over the course of this next week. This is a little bit of a impromptu fun time tonight, and I appreciate you a great deal. But call in on that, because I'm sure if the psychos get what they want, there could be exchanges of that kind of a payload. But I think that the CrowdStrike thing is more in line with what is going to trigger something. I don't think it's just going to be one day. It's Mushroom Cloud City. It could lead to that, but the monsters have already said that something far less than that can bring us to bring us through that threshold. So, but keep the faith a little bit more, Margie. Although I'm with you. Not necessarily on this election, but I don't see how many more elections could be allowed to go on the way that we've had it prior to 2020. I mean, they're already changed forever. Think about it. After hundreds of years, after over 200 years of doing things in a certain way, obviously we go from analog to digital. There's little things that pop up along the way, but after 200 years of doing things a certain way, suddenly in 2020, because of a virus with a 99% plus survival rate, we were taught, remember, election night was a privilege that we had in this country for a long time. It may take a few days, and we have to be okay with that. It's like you sit like that is like dungeon torture room shit. Like that coddling, everything's okay when it's clearly not. You have to be okay with that as they're cutting off your earlobes. That's what I feel. That's what I feel like when these people talk. Just monsters. About everything, just monsters. Because every little piece leads up to something else. 615, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Frank, man. Elvis in Nashville. What are you doing?
Oh, well, I'm just chilling. I'm just chilling up here in New York. Just doing a little stream. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. Well, I got you on speakerphone, and I've got the thing running in the background, so that's always good.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I've gone back and forth with you in emails. I'm the oregano oil guy, from Nashville. That I've corresponded with you, but yeah, I mean, it's just insanity with what these guys are doing with the election and the musical chairs. But if Kamala's not qualified to be president, I don't know how they're going to put her in for the candidate. I mean, do you have any ideas on that?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about qualifications, Joe Biden didn't have any either. I mean, he was in the Senate for a lot longer, and for a time, he was cunning and ruthless. Now he's, around 2020, he was a little bit more on the ruthless side, but he was just slipping. And then we had this. He's been a disabled man for his presidency. So if you're talking about what makes her qualified to become a president, I mean, her predecessor was disabled, like physically disabled. She's an idiot. She's an idiot, and she's unlikable, but like I said before, if all the tricks work for them again, it doesn't matter who the hell it is. They can make anything. They can pick an object around the room and make it the president. So, based on everybody that I've spoken to on this show, the one thing that they can't do is be able to screw with a complete blowout. It's the only thing that they can't overcome. That's all people keep. That's all people keep saying. And it's and if it's not that, I don't know.
Yeah, curious. What year? Do you remember what year she said they took a third of his brain out?
Well, you can go and check that out. You can. I don't remember the year.
But yeah, he's been disabled since then. I mean,
well, off the top of my head, I can't remember it. But I remember there was a night when we had brought up Margie's call. We played it back before she made contact with the show again. We played it back, and I complimented that bit by going into some. You can go and search it on the internet. about Joe Biden's medical emergencies with these. And he had 2 aneurysms, one after another. So it was multiple surgeries, and then we complemented that little piece of information by going into the I don't know what was it, the success and whether or not how well can you live without a certain portion of your brain. Thanks for the call. And I remember there was one case study. Forget the person. We probably did this about 2 years ago now, maybe the end of 22 or something like that. But there was one it said that whereas you can get along just fine with these portions of your brain missing, that later in life it could lead to personality changes. There could be personality changes there. And when we were reading it out loud and we were putting it as part of the show, I said, "Does this sound familiar?" Especially all the, but at that point, it could have been anything. Could have been anything. Could have just been this brand of Parkinson's or whatever. All right, let's take, what is it, 10:43? We're almost an hour in, and that's where we are ending because tomorrow's a full show, and I'm not doing more than an hour. 760, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Frank. Scott, actually calling from Texas.
Hello, Scott.
Hey, I've been listening for a while when you started with Tracy on Dark to Light. But hey, I'm going to give you credit for starting this train of thought that I've had on Saturday's shooting, the shooting attempt, and Crooks being set up as a patsy. But I'm pretty sure, putting together all the anomalies, that he was being set up just to conduct a mass casualty event at the rally, that he wasn't necessarily going there to do an assassination. And I'm pretty sure most of law enforcement, if not Secret Service, knew that this threat existed. And I think they generally chased him up onto the roof. And when he got up on the roof, then he saw he had a line of sight and took the shots at the president. I thought it was a comment that either Rich Barris or Frank Zell, I think it was Thursday night show, said that kind of got me thinking down this train of thought. But I listened to a couple other podcasts.
Well, Scott, that's essentially where all of the investigations and all of the breaking news for the last week has just been naturally leading. And of course, now that you have more and more people analyzing the audio of that day to try to pinpoint whether or not there was not only maybe 2 shooters, but maybe even in excess of, I know like Mike Adams thinks that there might have been as many as 3 shooters there. And there's all types of witnesses talking about people on water towers and whatever. So when I think that for the most part, even with us not having the full picture, just the character profile of the kid on the only roof in the area that was left completely unattended, I think that character profile alone would make somebody who, of course, wasn't committed to ignoring the whole damn thing and thinking it's staged, because you can't help Donald Trump. That's how pathetic this whole thing is, that people are still ignoring a huge, huge story. Keeps getting bigger. It goes all the way up to the top, and that does not mean Joe Biden. It goes all the way up to the top, and damn, man, for people to ignore that just because they don't want to believe. They don't want to believe that this actually happened, and it's just nuts. That's mentally ill. So yeah, I don't think nobody's really going on any other path other than that. it's almost really, it's been self-evident since like day 2. You know, day 1, you kind of have all of your gut feelings. And by day 2, by last Sunday, especially Monday morning, oh man, that was just, that was nuts. By Tuesday, we started, that's when we got the official sloped roof, or Wednesday was the sloped roof day. Nutty. Absolutely insane. So that's, it couldn't have been him. Just a piece of it. Just a piece of it. Gave yourself a figurehead. You get another 3 named shooter. It's always a shooter with 3 names. And then away you go. Let's take one last call. 725, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, it's Mike from Maryland.
Oh, what's going on, Mike? How you doing?
Good. I just want to drop one late night theory on here.
Go ahead.
With Margie talking about how that statement wasn't official White House stationery.
Yeah.
If what she's saying is true, then that means that basically some group that is not the White House has taken over Joe Biden's Twitter, which, I mean, that's always been like the big problem with Twitter, is that somewhere at Twitter headquarters, someone has God mode, where they have everyone's passwords and they can lock you out and they can tweet from your account, making it look like you without your input. And, you know, a couple things there. If that's true and that's what happened here, what do you do if you're Biden? Do you just say, do you admit that that's what happened? How do you do that when the whole country sees a statement from your official Twitter, not knowing about the little nuance with the stationery? They just see the official Joe Biden Twitter says, I'm stepping down. The whole country sees it. You're kind of screwed there. And it just made me think, maybe this is the reason why, if it is true, maybe this is the reason why Trump is so committed to Truth Social. Because it's just, you know, what would they have said to him? You know, what would they have said in his place?
It could be. The only other thing that I would say you should consider is the fact that Joe Biden really has not had any control over his Twitter from the get-go, and that it just might be staff who have absolutely no political capital out there. They have no way of really refusing an order from somebody much higher than they are as just a White House social media staff, and they're just like, put this out now.
It could be, or I mean, it could be, you know, even a mix of that, of just someone who is disloyal to him, because who knows who all is in there. There's like 200 people that work at the White House. It could just have been any, like, you know, rogue someone doing that. But it's crazy to think about how much power, how much damage can be done just by the White House's Twitter account, and how potentially how many people might have access to something like that.
Yeah, and you know, I saw some people say that, well, they can't put out official letterhead because it was being written in it was addressing a campaign, and it wasn't like official presidential duties. But most of the letter, 90% of the letter, is talking about the official presidential accomplishments and all that other stuff, and actually doubling down on his commitment to serving out the rest of his term and blah blah blah. It wasn't really like a campaign, a big campaign thing. He actually avoided a lot of it, a lot of doing that. So, and
it makes sense in the flow of like the escalation of force. You know, where you have the debate and they don't give him his drugs, and then they have the whole media going after him. Then they have all the Democrat Party asking him to step down. He's still not going. And so maybe this was some kind of, you know, underhanded kind of thing like that.
Not only that, but I still can't shake it. I still think that Joe Biden and Donald Trump's fate were in one way, shape, or another linked. That both parties wanted this guy wanted their guys gone for different reasons, but they wanted it gone. And there's a way that you can get both people gone. If one gets shot, the other one gets shot out of retaliation. You know, it's just one of those things where maybe the botched assassination attempt of President Trump a week ago actually led to a little bit more of a peaceful ouster from Joe Biden, whose the official releases from the White House up until yesterday was, hey, I'm not leaving. Then all of a sudden, this just comes out at 1:45 in the afternoon.
Yeah, but as time goes on, it's crazy how many of these theories, because there's so many different theories that are not, or that are rather mutually exclusive, that are kind of starting to rule themselves out, because you take the Trump assassination with the whole way that it looks like it's set up, and you have a lot of people on the right saying, well, this was an inside job, and like Trump himself wanted to do this. But then, out comes this information about the companies that are shorting Trump stock. And I mean, that clearly points to the other direction. And then to get even crazier with it, how people have been saying, this Biden is like the fourth clone of him. But if you're going to do that, if you're going to clone someone, why, number one, to make it senile, and then number two, drop it out of the race? The whole thing's just, I don't know, but I'm really enjoying this. It's so exciting right now.
Yeah,
it's a nice change of pace.
Yeah, hey, it can get really, really messy soon, especially when you talk about outside operations and cyberspace and everything else. But it is an exciting time, and the shows are pretty much going to write themselves, at least for the time being. I have so many other things I want to work in, and you can't. History is just writing itself, and we're in the middle of it all. So we just kind of got to take hold and go along for the ride and learn how to ride the wave a little bit more gracefully. Because, if we're prepared, I don't know, it'll be a little bit easier for us to make it back to shore. But
yeah, and just, soak it all in, enjoy it. This show's going to be a lot of fun this week and up until election and beyond. So I can't wait for it.
All right, Mike, thanks for helping me close it out.
You got it, man.
All right, take care. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all for tonight. It's a little bit of a Sunday night teaser, which what we are going to continue tomorrow night, 7:00 at Studio A. Thank you so much for joining me here at Studio B. And if you have anything you want to send in, whether it be theories, useful bits of information, breaking news, whatever, send it over to, quite frankly, podcast@gmail or protonmail.com. I'll be checking it throughout the night and into the morning and all that. And thank you again. You guys have been fantastic. All right. That's all for me. Be well.